In the heart of the Bakley clan, a sudden tragedy strikes, shattering the peace as a young boy discovers his mother's lifeless body. Chaos erupts in the courtyard, the boy's cries of anguish piercing the air as clan members gather in shock. The clan head arrives, his face cold and impassive, demanding the wailing stop and ordering everyone to disperse immediately. With a chilling calmness, the father commands that this incident be buried, explicitly forbidding the clan from seeking any revenge. Young Bakley Woon freezes, his tears drying instantly as he stares at his father in disbelief, unable to comprehend the command. His father justifies the cowardice as a necessity for the greater good, warning Woon against acting recklessly. Overwhelmed by grief and rage, Woon struggles to contain the scream building in his chest. He lashes out, questioning how a man can call himself a father while refusing to avenge his own wife's murder. With a final look of disgust, Woon condemns his father as inhuman, severing the emotional tie between them. Turning his back on his heritage, Woon walks away into the night, deciding to leave the Bakley clan forever. He runs through the darkness, fueled by the realization that his current weakness makes revenge impossible. Gritting his teeth, he vows to build his own strength, creating a power base that no one can look down upon. He swears to establish his own sect, gathering followers to create a force capable of challenging his enemies. With eyes burning with determination, he promises to hunt down everyone involved in his mother's death, no matter how long it takes. 12 years later, amidst a burning building, a terrified man begs for his life, pleading to be spared by the Murim Alliance. Desperate, the man offers anything in exchange for mercy, hoping to strike a bargain. An adult Bakley Woon, now a hardened warrior, draws his blade, his expression unreadable. He calmly considers the offer, admitting there is indeed one thing he desires from the man. The villain eagerly asks what the price is, thinking he has found a way to survive. Woon smiles coldly and demands the man's life, shattering the villain's hope in an instant. As the man freezes in terror, Woon's demeanor shifts, his intent turning lethal. He declares that if the life won't be given willingly, he will simply take it by force. Enraged by the mockery, the villain prepares to fight, threatening to tear Woon apart. Unimpressed, Woon insults the man one last time before launching his attack. In a blur of motion, Woon strikes, the sound of the impact echoing through the burning hall. The structure collapses around them as the fight ends as quickly as it began. Woon stands amidst the debris, unharmed and composed. He severs the villain's head, intending to send it to the Murim Alliance as proof of the mission's completion. Leaving the carnage behind, he walks out into the night, the fires of his vengeance still burning. Outside, he meets a fellow Alliance member, Moyong Hyan, tossing the packaged head to her. He cheerfully thanks her for waiting, his earlier coldness replaced by a casual demeanor. She points out the blood still smeared on his face, unfazed by the gruesome package. He casually wipes the blood away, dismissing it as nothing. Cleaning his face, he prepares to move on from this chapter of his life. He muses that this conclusion marks a new beginning for him. He announces his retirement from the Murim Alliance, leaving the cleanup to his subordinate. As he walks away, he confirms he has achieved everything he needed from the Alliance. Hyan asks to visit him in the future, and he welcomes her to come find him if she gets bored. She stops him, realizing he hasn't actually told her where he is going. He reveals his destination, Hubei Province, Hualong County. A boat cuts through the water, carrying Woon toward his new future. He reflects on the long journey that has brought him to this point. From leaving his clan to joining the Alliance, every step was taken to gain strength. Using his own martial arts, he rose to the rank of captain, spending 12 years preparing for this moment. Now, the time has finally come to fulfill his vow and create his own sect. He has saved enough funds to buy a manor, believing he has found the perfect property. Giddy with excitement, he chuckles to himself on the boat, convinced the heavens are helping him. He bursts into laughter, unable to contain his joy. The boatman looks at him strangely, asking if he has good news, thinking his passenger might be crazy. Woon explains he is on his way to buy a manor to found his lifelong dream sect. The boatman's face drops as he realizes there is only one manor for sale in the area, the haunted one. Oblivious to the boatman's concern, Woon steps off the boat, thinking nothing could possibly go wrong. He arrives at the destination, but his expression falters as he sees the state of the property. The manor is enormous but clearly abandoned, yet the seller, Yiriang, beams with pride. Woon immediately suspects a scam, noting that Yiriang's instincts seem dull if he thinks this will pass. He points out the filth and lack of maintenance, but Yiriang urges him to tour the place first. As they walk, Yiriang highlights the massive scale, 45 rooms and 5 training halls. Woon asks about the previous owners, noting it's rare to have so many training grounds. He considers the potential, realizing that with repairs, it really would be perfect for a sect. Cutting to the chase, Woon demands to know the catch. Yiriang admits the minor detail that every previous owner died of heart failure on their first night. The rumors say it is haunted, and even exorcists have failed to cleanse it. Woon is outraged, but Yiriang frantically drops the price to a quarter of the market value. Hearing the discount, Woon instantly changes his demeanor, clasping Yiriang's shoulder like an old friend. The deal is struck, and Yiriang hands over the deed, praising Woon's decisiveness. Woon takes the scroll, his eyes gleaming with satisfaction. A mysterious system window appears confirming the deed transfer, startling Woon for a split second. Yiriang quickly leaves, telling Woon to come find him only if he survives the night. Woon watches him go, standing alone in the desolate courtyard. He sighs, the weight of the task ahead settling in. But the excitement returns instantly as he celebrates owning his very own manor. He laughs maniacally, slapping the pillars, thrilled that recruitment is the only step left. Dust falls around him, reminding him that he first needs to clean the place up. He sets to work, scrubbing the floors with vigor. He dusts the high beams, determined to make his new home shine. Wiping sweat from his brow, he smiles, satisfied with his progress. He heads toward the main hall for the final leg of his cleaning spree. He pushes open the doors, ready to finish the job. Inside, something catches his eye. He picks up a discarded sword, wondering if a previous owner left it behind. He grins, thinking he can sell it for a decent price, calling it his lucky day. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifts, and his eyes widen in alarm. The room transforms into a digital training grid, leaving Woon confused about his location. A system interface appears, evaluating him as a second-grade martial artist, the highest among all evaluates. Before he can process the information, a projectile flies past his face, grazing his cheek. He barely deflects a massive blade with the rusted sword he just found. The system announces it is adjusting the test difficulty to extreme because of his high grade. He realizes the traps are firing steel orbs and understands this is what killed the previous owners. The system formally commences the test of martial prowess on extreme difficulty. Woon accepts the challenge, his demeanor shifting from confusion to combat readiness. He taunts the system, ready to show why he was a captain of the Murim Alliance. Giant blades swing at him as he invites the attack. He dodges a massive axe blade by a hair's breadth. He is thrown back by the force, tumbling across the training floor. He lands in a safe zone, realizing the traps have a limited range. Taking a moment to breathe, he notices his weapon is nearly destroyed. Suddenly, a new sword drops from the ceiling, surprising him. He grabs the new weapon, amused that the system has some flexibility. He realizes the traps are protecting something at the far end of the hall and charges forward. He leaps into the air, dodging a forest of rising pillars. More projectiles fire, catching him mid-air. He twists his body, deflecting the onslaught with precise strikes. He unleashes his flowing moon stride, moving like a ghost through the obstacles. Activating Phantom Field, he creates illusions to confuse the sensors. He delivers a devastating crescent slash, cutting through the traps. He lands on the other side, groaning from the exertion. He looks up to see more steel orbs waiting for him. But before they fire, the system announces the test has concluded. The digital grid fades, revealing the main hall, now restored to pristine condition. The system confirms he has passed the test. A notification states all manor functions are unlocked to the highest grade, and a glowing sword floats towards him. He grasps the sword, pleased with his reward. The final prompt asks him to name the manor to conclude the trial. Smiling, he declares the name has already been decided. He proclaims the birth of the righteous heavens sect. He presses his hand onto the interface, registering the name as the system initializes. The next morning, he stands in the hall with Yuryang, demanding the ghost reveal itself. The system initialization completes, confusing Woon. The doors slam open as Yuryang rushes in, expecting to find a corpse. He is shocked to see Woon alive and yelling at him. Relieved, Yuryang asks if everything went well during the night. Woon points angrily behind him, where a system spirit is making faces, but Yuryang sees nothing. Woon yells about the thing following him, while the spirit smugly reminds him that only the owner can see it. Yuryang looks at the empty air, wondering if Woon hit his head. Frustrated, Woon slams the table, threatening to return the manor if things keep going wrong. Yuryang panics, but Woon admits he needs the place for his sect establishment ceremony. Woon asks for uniform recommendations, and Yuryang mentions the local shops are difficult right now. Yuryang explains the shops are competing for a contract with the influential Yellow Dragon Hall. He describes how powerful the Yellow Dragon Hall is, supplying the imperial family and commanding respect from all sects. Yuryang bluntly tells Woon that with his finances, he couldn't afford them anyway, which stings Woon's pride. He advises Woon to visit Draper Street, but warns that the haunted manor rumors might scare sellers off. Woon pauses, realizing the rumor shouldn't have spread so fast since he only bought the place yesterday. He stares at Yuryang with suspicion. Yuryang sweats nervously, claiming gossip travels faster than the wind. Woon's eyes glow red with menace as he accuses Yuryang of spreading the rumors. The spirit floats ominously behind Woon as Yuryang tries to spin the rumors as free publicity. Woon snaps, blaming Yuryang for introducing him to a haunted house. Woon tries to buy fabric, putting on his most charming smile. The shopkeeper slams the door in his face, refusing to sell to the owner of the haunted manor. He curses Woon as an unlucky bastard, telling him to get lost. Woon walks down the street, hearing whispers everywhere, realizing his reputation is already in tatters. Suddenly, he hears a shout and sees a group of men bullying a child. The child begs for his money back, claiming they promised to save his sister. An old man watches helplessly as the thug kicks the child, who claims they scammed him. The thug brutally kicks the boy again, shouting that his sister is hopeless. Woon steps in, identifying the thugs as members of the White Sword sect and scolding them. The leader draws his blade, telling Woon he should have walked away when he had the chance. In a flash, Woon strikes, knocking the thug back with a single blow. The thug crashes into the dirt, groaning in pain. Furious, the other thugs demand to know who Woon is. Woon admits his name doesn't carry much weight yet, but obliges them. He proudly introduces himself as Bakley Woon, sect leader of the Righteous Heavens sect. The thug leader leaps into the air, outraged that a nobody is interfering with his sect's business. Woon easily sidesteps the attack, grabbing the attacker's arm. He slams the thug into the ground with a powerful impact. As the thug screams, Woon lectures him on the folly of judging opponents by their fame. Another thug attacks, screaming that Woon is making an enemy of the White Sword sect. Woon parries the strike effortlessly, stating he simply doesn't care. With a burst of energy, he blows the attackers away. The thugs realize this is the man who bought the haunted manor, and Woon is deeply annoyed that the rumor has spread this far. He beckons them to come at him directly instead of gossiping. The leader declares an official challenge, charging at Woon one last time. Their weapons clash, creating a shockwave of dust. Woon moves faster than they can track, dodging a strike. He counters with a swift slash, and follows up with a heavy punch to the face. The thug leader flies backward, defeated. Woon looks down at the unconscious man, confirming the challenge has been met. He invites them to his sect anytime if they want a rematch, his aura flaring. He warns them to leave quietly unless they want things to get uglier. The thugs retreat, swearing revenge, while Woon checks on the injured boy. The boy asks if he was looking for uniforms, mentioning his sister is skilled at sewing. He bows desperately, begging Woon to save his sister. The system alerts Woon to a new trade opportunity with a third-grade target. Intrigued by the high grade, Woon smiles and asks for more details. The boy explains their parents died and his sister has a freezing illness. He leads Woon to their home, explaining that her hands and feet freeze over. The old fabric shop owner appears, asking who Woon is. They arrive at a dilapidated shack as the sun sets. The boy enters, announcing he has brought a warrior to help. Woon awkwardly denies being a ghost catcher. Inside, he sees a girl sitting by a fire, asking who the visitor is. Woon notices she is holding her hands directly in the flames without flinching. The system analyzes her, revealing a violent clash between fire and cold within her. Woon confirms she is Seowa and that her brother begged him to save her. He asks about the heat, and she calmly explains she needs it to prevent frostbite. He asks to check her pulse, and she extends a trembling hand. He touches her wrist, channeling energy to diagnose her. His finger glows blue as the system runs a scan. The results confirm excessive Yin energy has invaded her body. Woon explains she has an extreme Yin body, a rare constitution that absorbs Yin energy. He compares her condition to the Sword Empress, one of the legendary 10 heavens. He explains that while it's a blessing for martial artists, her lack of cultivation means the energy is killing her. He bluntly tells her she will die within 3 months. Seowa accepts her fate, but her brother yells in denial, accusing Woon of being a fraud. He asks if medicine can help, but Woon says it will only delay the inevitable. The system proposes essence water to boost her recovery, which Woon can obtain via a quest. The quest is to recruit his first disciple, rewarding him with the cure. Woon smiles, realizing he can solve both his uniform problem and his recruitment quest at once. He turns to Seowa with a proposition. He asks her to become his disciple. The siblings stare at him in shock. Woon asks them to trust him just this once. The brother is skeptical, wary of martial artists who claim to be righteous. He recalls how his parents died because of selfish warriors who only cared about themselves. He fears Woon is the same, intending to use and abandon them. Woon extends a hand, waiting for their decision. The girl looks at her frostbitten hand, considering the offer that could save her life. The disciples of the White Sword Sect kneel in disgrace before their leader, trembling as he chastises them for being humiliated by an unknown sect. In a fit of rage, the sect leader crushes the stone armrest, his terrifying strength sending a clear message of his fury. He looms over his terrified subordinate, declaring that physical pain is nothing compared to the loss of face, while the disciple begs for forgiveness. Coldly, the leader orders them all to be taken to the punishment chamber. The disciples scream in terror, pleading for mercy as they are dragged away to their fate. One disciple desperately clings to the floor, shouting for just one more chance. As a last resort, the disciple shouts the name of the man who defeated them, Bakley Woon of the Righteous Heavens Sect. Hearing the name, the White Sword Sect leader, So Yowang, pauses, a sinister idea forming in his mind as he decides to host a party for this upstart. So Yowang grins maliciously, eager to see what kind of person Woon is. While miles away, Woon sneezes, sensing someone talking about him. Back at the humble shack, Woon confronts the old fabric merchant, realizing his true identity as the Yellow Dragon Hall Master. The old man strokes his beard and laughs heartily, impressed that Woon saw through his disguise, confirming he is indeed Cheon Gamyeong. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Woon and the children sit respectfully, apologizing for not recognizing such a powerful figure. Cheon Gamyeong drops a bombshell, asking Woon if he would consider joining the Yellow Dragon Hall. He promises unlimited support for whatever Woon desires, describing the immense reach of his giant merchant guild. The system alerts Woon to a new business opportunity, ranking the Yellow Dragon Hallmaster as a first-grade target. Woon contemplates the immense influence of the Hall, knowing they hold sway over both the orthodox and unorthodox factions. Despite the incredible offer, Woon firmly declines, stating that while it's a good opportunity, it doesn't align with the future he wants to build. He explains that he has just taken in his first disciple and has his own path to follow. The atmosphere shifts instantly as Cheon Gamyeong's expression darkens, questioning if Woon dares to refuse him. But the tension breaks as quickly as it arrived. The old man relaxes, accepting the rejection with surprising grace. Seizing the moment, Woon proposes a business deal instead. If Cheon gives him a chance, he will gift the hall with fame. Cheon Gamyeong leans in, his eyes blazing with intensity, amused by the audacity of Woon offering fame to an already legendary guild. Woon confidently declares that within 10 years, he will build a sect equal to the greatest powers in the Murim. The old merchant bursts into laughter, finding Woon's claim of rivaling the 10 sects without even a ceremony completely ridiculous. Wiping a tear from his eye, Cheon admits that Woon is at least good at making bold, absurd statements. Woon interrupts the laughter, clarifying that the fame he promised isn't for Cheon himself. With a confident smirk, Woon asks to be introduced to Cheon's disciple, wanting to negotiate the hall's future through the next generation. Intrigued by Woon's confidence, Cheon strokes his beard and agrees to the terms. He decides to send his disciple to Woon's sect, leaving the decision of the deal in the hands of the younger generation. However, he leaves Woon with a chilling warning. If the sect ever disappoints him, there will be consequences. A terrifying aura of a golden dragon manifests behind the old man as he demands Woon take responsibility for his bold claims. Unfazed by the pressure, Woon simply smiles, assuring him that there is nothing to worry about. The deal is made, and Cheon signals for his servants. At his command, servants rush in, piling high-quality silk into the humble shack. The room is suddenly crowded with goods and servants obeying the hall leader's orders. Cheon insists the silk is payment for the entertainment Woon provided today, refusing to take no for an answer. Woon accepts the gift, watching as the powerful merchant and his entourage vanish into the night as quickly as they appeared. Left alone with the riches, Woon chuckles, noting that the old man's arrogance matches his immense status. Woon calls out to his companion, his mind already turning to the next step of his plan. He orders a carriage, deciding that since he's already out, he might as well visit an old buddy at the Evil Path Alliance. He smirks, planning to have a drink with the Alliance leader. Back at the sect, Woon shows off the new uniform he made from the silk to Seowa. He models the righteous heavens robe, which the system notes increases dignity and charm. Seowa spins in her new uniform, delighted by the comfort and quality of the silk. The system confirms the crafting is complete and offers Woon a choice of 3 rewards. The options are an advanced sorcery counter text, advanced miracle medicine, or an exclusive trait unlock. Woon strokes his chin, bypassing the items and selecting the exclusive trait unlock. The system confirms that he can now unlock the hidden traits of his disciples. He views Seowa's status, which lists her traits: diligence, adversity, and responsibility. He tries to select the traits, but the system denies him, confusing him. A warning appears stating the disciple must increase their grade before new traits can be opened. Unfazed, Woon decides the solution is simple. He just needs to train her until she's strong enough. He turns to Seowa with a determined look, startling her as he announces training starts now. Seowa looks at her hands, nervous but hopeful about finally learning martial arts. Woon looks at his own hand, feeling the weight of responsibility as he wonders if he can truly guide her without failing. He pushes the doubt aside, resolving that he is the only one who can fix her condition. Excited, Seowa asks what powerful technique she will learn first. Woon bluntly answers, horse stance, much to her anticlimactic surprise. Seowa groans, disappointed that she isn't learning something flashy. Woon explains that her body is too weak, and they must build her stamina first. He orders her to hold the stance for an hour, ignoring her shock. Woon watches silently as she struggles through the training. Seowa asks if she can really do this, and Woon reassures her that her high affinity for yin energy gives her potential. He explains that internal energy builds naturally in her body, and once she forms a dantian, she will be fine. Woon grins creepily, thinking about her absolute yin physique, causing the system to warn that his creepiness level has increased. Suddenly, the sound of rushing footsteps interrupts the training, alerting Woon. Yuryang bursts into the courtyard, shouting for the sect leader. He frantically presents a letter from the White Sword Sect, asking if Woon knows their leader personally. Woon frowns, realizing it must be related to the disciples he beat up the day before. He opens the letter, his eyes narrowing as he scans the contents. It is an invitation to a duel competition hosted by the White Sword Sect. Yuryang explains that the White Sword Sect leader is infamous for using these competitions to bully weaker sects. He notes it's strange for them to invite a completely new, unknown sect like theirs. Woon grins, realizing the White Sword Sect intends to embarrass them, and decides it's going to be fun. He sees it as a perfect chance to spread their name, while Yuryang looks on with worry. Seowa hesitantly asks if she will be a burden since it's just the two of them. Woon corrects her immediately, stating she is attending the competition alone. Seowa thinks he means she is the only participant, stealing her resolve. But as the reality sets in that she is literally going alone, she screams in shock. Under the moonlight, Woon practices his breathing, standing in a horse stance. He collapses, complaining that despite his low stamina, doing nothing but horse stance feels excessive. He grumbles that even when he holds a sword, he's only taught basic swings that a child could do. Panic sets in as he realizes there are only 2 weeks left until the duel. He recalls watching Seowa train, wondering what the sect leader is thinking by making them do basics. Frustrated, Woon jumps up, deciding to go pick a fight with the sect leader to test his progress. Seowa peeks into Woon's room, realizing he isn't sleeping. She calls out to him, startling him as he pricks his finger with a needle. Woon is revealed to be sewing, annoyed by a system notification mocking him for pricking his finger for the 23rd time. He mutters that he needs to finish making her training robes before she starts questioning his teaching methods. He holds up the finished black robe, hoping she will like it. Seowa enters the room fully, spotting the new garment. A system message appears, indicating Seowa's trait responsibility is about to bloom. The scene shifts to a bustling market day. 2 White Sword Sect disciples gossip, wondering why their leader is hosting a public duel with a no-name sect. They realize the leader intends to use the Righteous Heaven sect as a public example of what happens to those who oppose them. They laugh, confident that the unknown sect has forgotten its place. Woon arrives at the registration desk, where he is greeted by Wang Pal, a muscular disciple of the White Sword Sect. Wang Pal guides them, internally mocking Seowa's somewhat messy, hand-stitched clothes. Woon asks Seowa if she likes the uniform, and she beams, saying she loves it despite the messy stitching. They arrive at the main platform, stepping forward with confidence. The White Sword Sect leader, So Yo-Wang, addresses the crowd, claiming the event is to encourage friendship among sects. He announces a special prize for the winner, drawing the crowd's attention. The crowd gasps as he reveals the prize is a lesser blue pill. Whispers erupt as people recognize the Wudong elixir that assists in refining the Qi core. The crowd cheers for the sect leader's generosity, unaware of his ulterior motives. So Yo-Wang glares at his disciples, calling them fools for losing earlier. He grins maliciously, vowing to ensure no one ever dares stand up to his sect again. He orders his disciple to show the overwhelming difference in power. The preliminary rounds begin in the 3rd area. Seowa stands in the arena, holding a wooden sword, looking nervous. She glances back at Woon, asking if she can really do this. Woon tells her to think back to her training, though she recalls only doing horse stance. He places a hand on her shoulder, telling her to trust the one who trained her. He guarantees she has become much tougher than before. Xiaohua nods, resolving to do her best even if she's unsure. The preliminary rounds commence with various fighters clashing. Xiaohua faces her opponent, Chong Sam of the Blue Moon Sect, who introduces himself confidently. Chong Sam mocks her stance, realizing she's a novice who has only trained for a month. He swings his wooden sword down, intending to teach her a lesson. Xiaohua recalls Woon's instruction to use all her strength and swings back. With a single strike, she smashes through her opponent's defense, sending him flying. Chong Sam crashes into the wall, unconscious. The spectators gasp in disbelief, realizing the match was decided in an instant. Woon smiles from the sidelines, his faith in her validated. The referee declares Xiaohua the winner. Woon reflects that he spent 2 weeks teaching her the mindset of a martial artist, to strike without fear. Unlike novices who hold back out of fear, Xiaohua is now capable of using her full power without hesitation. Xiaohua beams at Woon, shouting that she won. Woon watches her, confident she will easily make it to the main round. With Xiaohua safe, Woon scans the crowd for other talent as the next match, featuring Jingguang of the White Sword Sect, is announced. Jingguang fights aggressively, dominating his opponent. He strikes mercilessly, even as his opponent falls. The opponent tries to surrender, begging him to wait. He admits defeat, but Jingguang raises his sword again. Ignoring the surrender, Jingguang brings his sword down on the defenseless man. The sound of breaking bones echoes as he strikes. The crowd screams for him to stop, noting the match was already over. Jingguang is declared the winner, but Woon clicks his tongue in disgust at the unnecessary cruelty. Woon notes that Jingguang is playing nasty games despite having the superior skill. Xiaohua returns, celebrating her advancement to the main round. She excitedly tells Woon that giving it her all worked just as he said. Suddenly, she flinches, feeling a gross killing intent radiating from the arena. Woon looks toward the source, telling Xiaohua that is likely her opponent for the main round. The White Sword Sect leader, So Yowang, approaches them with a fake smile. He looms over them, his presence imposing. He offers a shallow apology for his disciples' earlier rudeness, though Woon coolly retorts that he needs to discipline them better. So Yowang drops the facade, telling Xiaohua it's a shame her run ends here against Wu Jiam, but offers to let her join his sect when she loses. Woon takes offense to the comment about his disciples not being bad, and so Yowang calls for Wang Pal. Wang Pal steps forward, glaring at Woon. He eyes Woon up and down. Surprisingly, Wang Pal compliments Woon's height and build. He gestures for Woon to follow him. Woon is visibly flustered by the unexpected compliment. Recovering, Xiaohua asks Woon what he thinks about her next opponent. Woon ignores the question, asking Xiaohua what she thinks about having Wang Pal as a fellow disciple, shocking her. Woon approaches a tall, sturdy disciple named Wang Pal in the White Sword Sect's training grounds. Impressed by Wang Pal's physique and potential, Woon casually invites him to join his sect. Wang Pal beams with gratitude, thanking the strange sect leader for the unexpected offer. The scene shifts to a flashback of Wang Pal's recent duel, where he is overpowered by a younger disciple named Jingguang. The crowd cheers for Jingguang's victory over his senior, highlighting the brutality of the White Sword Sect's hierarchy. Jingguang stands over the defeated Wang Pal, mocking him for losing to someone younger. Watching from the stands, sect leader So Yowang gazes down with cold disappointment at his disciple's weakness. He cruelly orders Wang Pal to spend the rest of his days cleaning up after the others, discarding him as a failure. Back in the present, Wang Pal wakes up in a cold sweat from the nightmare of his humiliation. He realizes it was just a bad dream, but the reality of his situation remains grim. Jingguang enters the room, smirking as he finds Wang Pal awake. Jingguang demands Wang Pal help him warm up for his next match, ignoring Wang Pal's excuses about feeling unwell. He grabs his senior's shoulder, his grip tightening as he insists on using him as a practice dummy. Jingguang cruelly remarks that Wang Pal's only value is his durable body, forcing him into submission. Resigned to his fate, Wang Pal hangs his head and agrees to be the punching bag once more. The tournament continues as the semi-finals begin, the atmosphere tense with anticipation. Woon analyzes Siawa's opponent, Wu Jiam, explaining the strengths and weaknesses of the illusion's sword style. He asks Siawa how she plans to win, and she hesitantly suggests trying not to get tricked. Woon smiles, revealing he has a much simpler and more effective method for her to secure victory. He whispers a strategy to her, assuring her that if she trusts him, she will beat Wu Jiam easily. Siawa nods with determination, ready to execute her master's plan. Yuryang joins them, surprised that Siawa has made it this far in the tournament. He offers a backhanded congratulation, amazed at her progress in just 1 month. Siawa faces off against Wu Jiam, who looks down on her with obvious arrogance. Wu Jiam taunts her, claiming everyone expects her swift defeat. Siawa counters confidently, stating that her sect leader believes in her victory. Wu Jiam scoffs, calling them both crazy as he draws his sword. The duel begins, and Wu Jiam launches a flurry of strikes, testing her defenses. Siawa struggles to discern the real attacks from the illusions, sweat beading on her forehead. Wu Jiam presses the advantage, mocking her as she retreats. She barely blocks the strikes, realizing she can't keep defending forever. Remembering Woon's advice, she focuses on maintaining her guard at the center. Wu Jiam unleashes a powerful overhead strike, trying to break her guard. Siawa is pushed back, gritting her teeth under the heavy impact. Wu Jiam is surprised she blocked it, having underestimated her strength. He increases his speed, launching a barrage of attacks to overwhelm her. Black ink-like energy trails from his blade as he intensifies the illusion arts. Woon watches calmly, noting that illusion users are weak at close range and will try to keep their distance. He smiles, knowing the moment Siawa closes the gap, the match is hers. Siawa sees an opening and charges forward, shouting that she's just getting started. She weaves through the black tendrils of energy, closing in on her opponent. Wu Jiam panics as she gets too close, his advantage crumbling. She strikes swiftly, shattering his defense. With a determined shout, she declares his movements too obvious. Her blade connects, sending shockwaves through the arena as her traits begin to merge. So Yoang and Woon watch intently, their expressions a stark contrast of shock and satisfaction. Under the extreme pressure, Siawa's insight sharpens dramatically, her eyes glowing with focus. She delivers a devastating blow, catching Wu Jiam completely off guard. Wu Jiam screams in disbelief as he realizes he can't stop her. Desperate, he tries to counter, but she is already within his guard. Siawa lands the final strike, a clean hit that ends the duel. Wu Jiam falls, defeated by the novice he mocked. She executes the second form of the Azure Arts, sending him flying out of bounds. Woon grins, proud that his disciple has secured the victory. So Yoang accuses her of cheating, claiming she hid her true strength to ambush his disciple. Woon steps in, asking if the White Sword Sect has always been so rude as to question a legitimate win. So Yoang flinches under Woon's pressure and is forced to apologize for his outburst. He bitterly accepts the defeat, blaming his disciple for assuming Siawa was weak. Siawa is officially declared the winner, and the crowd erupts in cheers. Spectators marvel at the fact that she has only been training for a month. Siawa rushes to Woon, beaming with joy, as Yuryang offers to treat them to dinner. Later that night, a furious So Yoang orders Wang Pal to poison Siawa's food with paralysis poison. He demands that Jingguang permanently cripple her in the finals, refusing to accept a simple defeat. Wang Pal is horrified and refuses, receiving a brutal slap across the face for his defiance. So Yoang calls him a fool, telling him that if he lacks talent, he must at least follow orders to be useful. Woon's voice cuts through the tension, noting that the White Sword Sect leader disciplines his disciples quite severely. So Yoang turns, shocked to see Woon standing there, witnessing his shameful conduct. Woon smiles coldly, ready to intervene. Woon interrupts the abuse, calmly stating that interfering in another sect's affairs is discourteous, but necessary. He introduces himself properly as the sect leader of Yuaiqion, criticizing So Yowang's harsh treatment. He lectures So Yowang on the duty of a leader to guide lacking disciples, not discard them. Woon then demands that Wang Pal be handed over to his sect, shocking everyone present. Wang Pal points to himself in disbelief, unable to understand why anyone would want him. Woon claims that his sect's methods suit Wang Pal better, further insulting So Yowang's leadership. So Yowang accuses Wang Pal of colluding with Woon, but Wang Pal desperately denies it. Unexpectedly, So Yowang agrees to the transfer but proposes a wager to make things interesting. He grins menacingly, suggesting they shouldn't just send off a cherished disciple for free. He reveals his true desire, Seowa, the talent he believes is being wasted in Woon's small sect. He proposes that whichever sect wins the tournament will take one disciple from the other. So Yowang claims he makes the offer out of pity, but Woon accepts the challenge without hesitation. The wager is set, but Wang Pal looks on with worry, fearing the outcome. So Yowang leaves with a smirk, confident that Woon will lose his only disciple. Woon turns to Wang Pal, asking if he knows why he was chosen. He warns Wang Pal that he isn't taking him just for show and tells him to think carefully about his worth. Wang Pal asks if Seowa knows about the high-stakes wager, concerned for her future. Woon casually remarks that Seowa would be happy to have a mentor, dismissing the risk. He returns to Seowa and asks her to win the match, though he phrases it as a request rather than an order. Seowa is nervous about the 50-50 odds Woon mentioned earlier, but he assures her that he believes in her. Encouraged by his faith, Seowa vows to do her best. The finals begin, and So Yowang warns his disciple, Jin Guang, not to let his guard down. He demands victory to wash away the earlier humiliation. Jin Guang faces Seowa in the arena, his expression serious and focused. He sneers at her, claiming that her luck ends here. Seowa retorts that her sect leader believes in her, refusing to be intimidated. Jin Guang calls them both crazy and prepares to attack. The match begins, and Jin Guang launches a ferocious assault. Their swords clash, sparks flying as Woon observes Jin Guang's solid fundamentals. Seowa struggles to keep up, realizing her opponent is on a different level than the previous one. Jin Guang unleashes his Yin-Cold Qigong, manifesting dark energy that surrounds him. Seowa blocks the heavy strikes, her arms shaking from the impact. Woon recognizes the dark technique, realizing Jin Guang is a formidable opponent. Jin Guang is surprised by Seowa's inner power, which is stronger than he anticipated. Woon explains that her opponent underestimated her because of her age, not knowing about her innate energy. He reminds himself that her extreme Yin body naturally accumulates power, giving her an edge. Jin Guang swings his blade down with massive force, intending to crush her. Seowa is forced to her knees, the ground cracking beneath her. Jin Guang mocks her, calling her a novice despite her power. He kicks her away, sending her tumbling across the arena. He prepares a finishing move, declaring he will end it in 10 seconds. Seowa grits her teeth, refusing to lose like this. Suddenly, her trait responsibility activates, followed by diligence and adversity. The three traits merge, her heartbeat accelerating as her potential unlocks. Under the extreme pressure, her insight skyrockets, and she sees the path to victory. She dodges Jin Guang's fatal strike by a hair's breadth. Jin Guang is shocked, having believed the match was over. He tries to follow up, but Seowa is already moving. She unleashes her own technique, Final Sever, slashing through his defenses. Woon shouts her name as the blow connects. Seowa stands victorious, panting heavily, her belief in herself vindicated. Woon confirms her win with a proud smile. So Yowang yells that it's cheating, unable to accept the reality. Woon silences him with a glare, asking if the White Sword sect has no honor. So Yowang backs down, apologizing through gritted teeth. Seowa is declared the winner of the tournament, and the crowd goes wild. Woon praises her, and Yuryang mentions treating them to dinner. Woon turns his attention back to So Yowang, ready to collect his prize. He demands Wang Pal, reminding the leader of their wager. In the aftermath of the fierce duel, Woon kneels beside Seowa, asking gently if she can stand. Seowa beams with a bright smile, proudly telling him she kept her promise to win. Woon looks at her with genuine warmth, impressed by her growth. He helps her up and praises her fighting spirit, telling her to acknowledge the cheering crowd. Woon raises Seowa's hand high, and the announcer declares her the winner of the Baekjim sparring tournament. The crowd erupts into applause, cheering for the unexpected champion from the unknown sect. Seizing the moment, Woon addresses the audience as the sect leader of the Righteous Heavens sect. He boldly announces that his sect's official opening ceremony will be held in 1 month, inviting everyone present. The spectators whisper in shock, realizing the White Sword sect lost to a group that hasn't even held its opening ceremony yet. So Yowang trembles with rage, realizing Woon used his tournament as a free promotional event. He turns his fury on his disciple, accusing him of hiding the Cold Qigong and still losing. So Yowang raises his hand to strike, but his wrist is suddenly caught in a vice-like grip. It is Wang Pal who stops him, telling the leader to maintain his dignity. Furious at the rebellion, So Yowang gathers his energy to execute the traitor on the spot. But before he can strike, Woon intervenes, blocking the attack with a powerful burst of energy. So Yowang demands to know why Woon is interfering in his sect's discipline. Woon coldly reminds him that Wang Pal is now a disciple of the Righteous Heavens sect according to their wager. He grips the leader's arm tighter, threatening to face him personally if he has complaints. So Yowang winces in pain, realizing he is physically outmatched. He rips his arm away, humiliated and defeated on all fronts. He spits out a curse, telling Woon to do whatever he wants. Wang Pal watches his former master leave, finally breaking free from his oppressive shadow. So Yowang walks away, his face twisted with a vow to never forget this humiliation. Woon asks Wang Pal if he has any lingering regrets, but Wang Pal admits he only worries about his lack of talent. Woon places a hand on his shoulder, assuring him that he is already an excellent martial artist. Tears stream down Wang Pal's face as he is acknowledged for the first time in his life. He bows deeply, swearing to work hard as the Righteous Heavens sect's second disciple. The tournament concludes, marking the end of the event, though Woon takes all the credit for Seowa's win. 2 weeks later, peace has returned to the Righteous Heavens sect manor. Wang Pal is training in horse stance, surprised when Seowa approaches him. He awkwardly calls her sister, and she bursts into laughter, patting him on the back hard enough to hurt. Seowa adopts a senior attitude, lecturing him on the importance of basics. Wang Pal, with 8 years of experience, awkwardly accepts advice from Seowa, who is only trained for 2 months. He tries to show off his physical strength, but she immediately orders him to go draw water. Woon observes Wang Pal's stats, noting his excellent physique and technique understanding. However, his chi sensitivity is low, though Woon believes his diligence will overcome it. Woon smiles, confident that his eye for talent is accurate with both disciples. He envisions a bright future for his sect with these 2 promising students. Yiryang approaches, reporting that preparations for the opening ceremony are going smoothly. He mentions that thanks to the tournament, many people have requested to attend. However, his expression darkens as he hands Woon a specific letter from the Murim Alliance. Woon opens the scroll, his eyes narrowing as he sees the sender's name. It is a notice of a plagiarism evaluation regarding the Baekli clan's martial arts. Woon is incredulous that his former clan is accusing him of stealing their techniques. He realizes that his father is breaking character by using such underhanded tactics. He curses, understanding that they are trying to sabotage his opening ceremony. Woon prepares to practice, determined to prove his Yochin arts are distinct from the Baekli style. He knows that if the evaluator is biased toward the Baekli clan, he will lose regardless of the truth. A plagiarism verdict would ruin his reputation and force him to pay massive damages, which he cannot afford. Wang Pal rushes in, warning Woon that guests have arrived unexpectedly. Woon thinks fast, realizing he needs to find a way to make the evaluation fair. He decides he needs to compare his arts with other famous sects to find commonalities he can use as a defense. At the gate, guests marvel at the size of the manor, though one calls Woon a cheapskate. Woon arrives to greet them, recognizing the visitors. It is Chong Ha of Wudong and Namgung Wu of the Namgung clan, both former allies from the Changshan Brigade. Woon grins wickedly, realizing an opportunity has just walked through his door. He formulates a plan to flip the board on the Bakley clan. Later, Woon analyzes the situation, knowing the Murim Alliance will likely side with the powerful Bakley clan. Chong Gamyong, the merchant, suggests they need to elevate the conflict to a level the alliance can't ignore. Woon instructs Gamyong to send a letter, preparing to drag another major power into the mix. He decides to invite the Heretics League Evil Path to balance the scales against the orthodox factions. In the Bakley clan, the clan head Bakley Kong confronts the Outer Hall Master about the unnecessary plagiarism evaluation. He questions why they are attacking a sect that hasn't even started, reminding the Master they agreed not to stir trouble. Bakley Song, the Outer Hall Master, argues that letting Woon go was a mistake. He lists the flaws of the other potential heirs. The eldest is soft, and the daughter is impatient. He insists that Woon is the only true heir, possessing exceptional talent and nature. The clan head solemnly agrees, admitting they must show Woon where his true roots lie. He justifies his cruelty as a lesson, believing Woon must learn that escaping the clan's shadow is impossible. With a dark resolve, he vows to bring his son back, no matter the method. The day of the Righteous Heavens sect inauguration arrives under a clear blue sky. The Murim Alliance representatives arrive, confident that the plagiarism charge will crush the new sect. Bakley Hero, leading the charge, is determined to drag Woon back to his family. He believes Woon would have been the greatest swordsman of the age had he stayed. The gates of the manor open with a heavy boom, signaling the start of the confrontation. Woon steps out to face the crowd, his presence commanding and calm. He welcomes the guests, introducing himself as the sect leader. He immediately addresses the elephant in the room, stating there is a matter to settle before the opening. He loudly announces the accusation, that his sect has plagiarized the Bakley clan's martial arts. The crowd gasps, shocked that he would bring up such a scandal at his own inauguration. Hidden in the crowd, a hooded figure grins, finding the chaos entertaining. Woon calls out the Martial Alliance audit team, inviting them to step forward. Bakley Hero steps out, and the crowd recognizes him as the famous Changwol sword. He asks Woon to explain his scheme, but Woon replies that it's nothing complicated. Woon declares he will undergo the verification right here and now, in front of everyone. Bakley Hero protests, stating such trials are usually private, but Woon cuts him off. The Alliance representative tries to intervene, claiming they must appear impartial. Woon ignores the bureaucracy and begins his demonstration. He performs the Chonggong, blue art, claiming it is one of his basic techniques. His movements are fluid and powerful, creating sharp gusts of wind. He executes the first form, heaven, earth, and man, unleashing a massive vertical slash. Bakley Hero confirms it looks like the Bakley art, noting the triad principle. Suddenly, Namgung Wu steps in, pointing out that it also looks exactly like the Namgung clan's art. He reveals that 23 of Woon's basic arts show similarities to countless other sects. The Alliance representative panics, calling the claim absurd. Woon calmly asks who is there to confirm the claims, knowing he has prepared witnesses. Namgung Wu raises his hand, volunteering to verify. Chong Ha of Wudong also steps forward, revealing that multiple major sects are present. They explain they were nearby for a mission and decided to support their old friend. Namgung Wu demonstrates his own clan's art, showing the identical heaven, earth, man principle. Chong Ha agrees, producing a box of evidence. The box contains letters from various sects confirming that the basic arts are universal. Woon delivers the killing blow. If his arts are plagiarism because they use common principles, Then the Bakley clan is accusing everyone of plagiarism. He points out that by the Alliance's logic, the Bakley clan is claiming ownership of universal martial truths. The crowd realizes the Alliance's argument is flawed and biased. Woon reads the official response aloud, exposing the Alliance's attempt to frame him. Bakley hero grits his teeth, realizing Woon has completely outmaneuvered them. The Alliance audit team is in shock, asking Woon how he could have possibly verified every basic martial art across the Murim. Woon smiles calmly, having said his piece, and turns his gaze to Bakley Changseong, demanding his answer. Bakley Changseong trembles with rage, realizing he's cornered. Admitting the similarities entangles the Bakley clan in plagiarism disputes with 23 other sects. Unable to contain his fury, Changseong draws his massive sword, deciding that violence is the only remaining option. He charges forward with a roar, intending to crush Woon, while his subordinates scream for him to stop. Woon stands his ground, warning everyone else to stay back. He declares this a personal matter between family members. Changseong swings his blade, shouting that Woon is still Bakley blood and the future pillar of the clan. Woon blocks the heavy strike, retorting that it's the clan that refuses to let go of the past. Changseong accuses Woon of resenting the clan for failing to avenge his mother. He screams that if Woon intends to destroy the clan out of spite, he will stop him. Their energies clash in a massive explosion of light and force. Woon pushes back, his strength surprising the older master. Woon admits he won't deny his bloodline. He confesses he still feels some resentment, but he has largely moved on. He declares he is no longer the angry boy who left, but a sect leader building his own strength. Changseong mocks him, asking how long a small sect can last against the main house's pressure. Woon sheathes his sword, stating calmly that he has always been prepared for that. Changseong's eyes widen in shock as he sees Woon's composure. The crowd watches in awe as the dust settles. Changseong laughs bitterly, realizing Woon took his strike head-on and is still standing. He prepares another attack, but pauses, his expression softening into resignation. Woon officially declares that the Righteous Heaven sect has not plagiarized anyone. He asks his uncle for more time, promising the truth will eventually be revealed. Changseong sheathes his sword, making his decision. He announces himself as the outer hall leader of the Bakley clan. He publicly declares that the Righteous Heaven sect is innocent of all plagiarism charges. The crowd murmurs in amazement at the turn of events. From a rooftop, Jie Wool of the Yellow Dragon Hall watches, impressed by Woon's capability. He is silenced by his master, the unorthodox alliance leader, who finds the whole situation amusing. The unorthodox leader marvels at the manor, realizing it acts as a single giant divine artifact. Intrigued by Woon, he decides to keep an eye on him. Woon watches them leave, recognizing the unorthodox leader as his first potential trading partner. 3 days later, Woon sits in his empty hall, disbelief written all over his face. Despite the successful ceremony, not a single applicant has come to join the sect. Woon tries to write calmly, but his hand shakes with rage, snapping the brush in half. Seowa asks how they will recruit, and Woon explains that reputation usually brings people in naturally. He considers sending Wang Pal to street recruit, but decides against it, handing Seowa a letter for the Hawun merchant group instead. He grins, having devised a new method to force recruitment. Meanwhile, at the Murim Alliance, officials discuss the Murian Martial School, refusing joint training. They note the school has lost 3 times in a row to their rival, Muzhong, and is trying to save face. The strategist orders all Murian disciples to be gathered. He commands that the training will proceed as planned, forcing them into it. In a forest near Hualong County, a group of exhausted disciples struggles through the night. Their leader, Xian Munchiak, scolds a lagging disciple named Xian Wugang for disgracing the school. A noise from the bushes alerts them, and Munchiak orders the others to sleep while he takes watch. Wugang, unable to sleep, approaches Munchiak and asks if anything is wrong. Munchiak apologizes, blaming himself for the school's punishment training. He believes their boycott offended the Alliance, getting them sent to a nameless sect. He plots to pressure the host sect leader if the place is too shabby, hoping to regain some respect. Suddenly, a voice calls out from the darkness. Woon steps into the light, introducing himself as the Righteous Heavens sect leader. He announces that their entrance test begins immediately. The disciples draw their weapons, confused and alarmed. Woon states the rule. If even one of them sets foot past his sect's gate, they all pass. Munchiak orders the Murian school to prepare for battle. Woon attacks instantly, striking a disciple with incredible speed. He singles out Xian Wugang. He tells Wugang he can pass, but only if he escapes Woon alive. Back at the Alliance, officials confirm the Murian school's rejection is due to unfair classification. They explain the hierarchy. Muzhong is elite, while Murian is treated as second-rate. Despite usually being even, the current batch of Murian disciples has lost every match for 3 years. Their morale is completely collapsed, making them desperate and broken. Rumors spread about the Murian Hall's new training site. People gossip that it's a newly formed, unheard-of sect. A mysterious figure dismisses the news, claiming it doesn't matter where they go. He confidently declares that he will win regardless. In a flashback, a young Woon apologizes to his sister as he leaves the clan. His sister, Baek Lee-san, cries out for him not to go. She is left alone, tears streaming down her face. In the present, an adult Baek Lee-san vows to never lose until she finds out why her brother left. Back in the forest, Woon easily dodges an attack, praising the disciple's effort. He knocks Wugang down, asking for his name. Munchiak identifies himself and demands to know why the sect leader is attacking them. Woon explains it's his teaching method. He needs to understand his students before teaching them. A disciple asks what happens if they fail the test. Woon threatens to lock them in a warehouse until the tournament is over if they fail. The disciples realize this means an automatic loss by forfeit. Woon taunts Wugang again. The disciples decide to team up, realizing that defeating Woon here might pass the test. Woon acknowledges their decision as wise. He strikes immediately, sending a shockwave that knocks them back. He mocks them, saying that strategy might have worked against someone else. Wugang stares in terror, paralyzed by Woon's overwhelming power. Woon sighs, disappointed that their confidence evaporated under pressure. He singles out Wugang, noting that he feels oddly restrained despite his spirit. Suddenly, a female disciple, Dan Ryun, attacks from behind. Woon is impressed by Munchiak's quick assessment of the situation. He criticizes their stiffness, noting they are too tense. He taunts Wugang again for hesitating, asking if he's worried about hurting his opponent. Woon mentally notes that Wugang, Munchiak, and Ryun are the standouts. He decides to provoke them further. He voices his disappointment, calling them a disorganized mess trapped in defeatism. Munchiak grits his teeth in anger. Munchiak takes command, ordering Wugang to defend and Ryun to finish it. He plans to create an opening by exploiting Woon's rhythm. They launch a coordinated assault, but Woon easily deflects it. He praises their coordination. However, he lectures them on the danger of assuming a master won't use full strength. He knocks them all back, feigning disappointment again. He says he hoped at least one of them had a spark of talent. He declares it over, preparing to fulfill his promise to lock them up. Suddenly, red energy flares around Wugang. Woon recognizes the technique as the Grand Dead Sword form of the Blood Sect. Wugang, desperate and powered by demonic energy, attacks with renewed ferocity. Woon smiles, accepting the challenge. Their swords clash violently. Woon realizes the boy has incredible talent to wield such dangerous energy. The system notifies Woon that his lust index for talent has risen. Woon grins maniacally, deciding he wants this disciple. The memory of a terrifying defeat haunts the disciple as he wakes with a start, screaming in a cold sweat. Xian Wukong looks around in confusion, realizing he is in the Heavenly Sword Clan's infirmary. Panic sets in as he recalls using the Blood Sword clan's secret techniques in front of Woon during the entrance exam. He trembles, terrified that his identity as a spy for the heretic faction has been compromised. His roommate Unjin urges him to hurry, unaware of Kang's internal crisis. Kang follows nervously, certain that Woon noticed his martial arts, yet puzzled why he hasn't been arrested yet. Woon greets the gathered disciples with a cheerful smile, his demeanor betraying nothing of what he knows. He reveals that out of the many who applied, only 5 have passed the initial test to remain. The survivors are Oryong, Danri Yun, Seonwoo Kang, Unjin, and Seomun Chiok. Woon announces that for the next 15 days, they will spar daily against his own disciples. Seowa steps forward to introduce herself, holding a bundle of wooden weapons. Wang Pal also introduces himself, the massive former White Sword disciple looming behind her. Woon proposes a 5-on-2 handicap match to save time, pitting all the cadets against Seowa and Wang Pal. The cadets feel insulted, believing they are being underestimated by a nameless clan. Determined to prove their worth, they agree to the match, vowing not to lose to a small sect. The fight begins instantly, with Danri Yun rushing forward to end it quickly. Seowa intercepts her with blinding speed, her wooden sword a blur. With a single precise strike, Seowa knocks Danri Yun out of the fight. Seomun Chiok strikes with his spear, but Seowa activates her unique trait, Clear Mirror, Still Water. She deflects his attack effortlessly, slamming him into the ground with overwhelming force. Woon watches with satisfaction, inviting the remaining 3 to attack him directly. Unjin displays impressive defensive techniques, blocking the initial assault. But Wang Pal smashes through his guard, shocking Unjin, who recognizes him as a former junior brother. Woon steps in personally, grinning as he declares he will take over as their opponent. Acknowledging their strength, Woon decides to stop holding back. He unleashes a shockwave of energy, blowing the remaining cadets away. Only Seonwoo Kang remains standing, trembling as he realizes the gap in power. Woon asks if he wishes to continue, but Kang drops to his knees, admitting defeat. As the cadets recover, Woon casually reveals that Seowa has only been learning martial arts for 1 month. The cadets are dumbfounded, unable to comprehend such rapid growth. Woon lectures them on the importance of coordinated tactics, something they lacked in their losses to the Mujongwan. He emphasizes that trust in one's comrades is the key to becoming stronger together. Dismissing the class, Woon orders Seonwoo Kang to stay behind. Once they are alone, Woon activates a soundproofing barrier, changing the atmosphere instantly. Woon drops the friendly facade, confronting Kang about why the young master of the Blood Sword clan is pretending to be a cadet. He demands a valid answer, warning Kang that the consequences of lying will be severe. Woon's pressure intensifies, cracking the ground around them as he demands an answer. Kang is paralyzed by fear, realizing he cannot run from a monster like Woon. Woon interrogates him, asking why he is here. A flashback reveals Kang's past in the Blood Sword clan, where he was punished for showing mercy to an opponent. His father, the clan leader, cruelly lectures him that a leader of the Black Path must be feared, not loved. To prove his loyalty, his father orders him to infiltrate the Murim Alliance and kill his own senior sister, who is acting as a spy. Kang is horrified by the order, but his father threatens to kill everyone he holds dear if he refuses. Forced into submission, Kang accepts the mission, but secretly plots to use it as a chance to escape. Back in the present, Kang decides he must fight his way out to buy time for his escape. He draws his blade, unleashing the red aura of the Blood Sword arts. Woon is unimpressed, noting that Kang is finally showing his true colors. Woon charges, demanding Kang prove his worth if he wants to survive. Their swords clash violently, Woon easily overpowering Kang's desperate strikes. Woon critiques Kang mid-fight, stating that while the blood arts suit him better than orthodox ones, they are still not his true nature. He points out the hesitation in Kang's blade, identifying a distinct lack of killing intent. Kang screams in frustration, asking what Woon knows about him. Woon parries a strike and asks a simple, piercing question, "Why do you hold a sword?" Kong falters, the question digging deep into his trauma. He remembers his real father, Yang, a man of honor who died fighting alone while others fled. Kong realized the injustice of his father's death and vowed to get stronger to protect that honor. But in his obsession with strength, he lost his way and became a tool for the Bloodsword clan instead. Realizing he has lost sight of his original purpose, Kong lowers his sword, surrendering to Woon. Woon stops his attack, smiling as he points out that Kong fights to protect, not to kill. Woon reveals that he too had to reconstruct his martial arts to hide his origins from the Bakley clan. He offers to teach Kong how to fix his foundation and hide his techniques. He promises that over the next 15 days, he will deconstruct Kang's entire martial identity. Kong asks if he can become stronger, and Woon assures him it's his role to make it happen. Meanwhile, at the Murim Alliance, elders discuss the upcoming tournament against the Mujongwan. They reveal a high-stakes bet. The Sword Saint has bet on Woon's ragtag group winning. If the Sword Saint wins, the Sato Alliance must halt their expansion for a year, giving the Orthodox side time to regroup. To ensure victory, the Alliance sends a special instructor, Chongryu, the Wudong prodigy. Chongryu smiles, recognizing Woon's name from the past. The disciples collapse on the ground, groaning in exhaustion after another brutal day of sparring. They complain that fighting a 2-on-5 battle every single day is physically impossible. Woon suddenly appears above them, asking if they are tired already. He offers a tempting reward. If they win 8 out of 15 sparring matches, he will take them to a master blacksmith. He promises to have custom signature weapons forged for each of them. The disciples instantly regain their energy, cheering with excitement at the prospect of new weapons. During the spar, Seowa effortlessly counters an attack, surprising her opponents with her rapid adaptation. She moves with newfound motivation, her speed and precision overwhelming the trainees. Meanwhile, Kong sits tied to a rock, confused why he is being left out of the physical training. Woon explains the binding talisman constricts his body whenever he tries to use the heretic faction's arts. He challenges Kong to break free using only his internal energy, forcing him to abandon his physical habits. Yuriang watches with concern, asking Woon if this specialized treatment is safe. On the training field, Seomun Chiak enters a state of flow, his spear becoming an extension of his body. He uses his body to bridge the gap in range, surprising his opponent with a striking technique. Woon points out the rapid growth of Kang's comrades, inciting his fear of being left behind. Kong begs to be released, desperate to join the training, but Woon refuses. Woon explains that Kong is merely imitating the Bloodsword clan and needs to fix the habits of his internal energy. He instructs Kong to tear out his existing internal energy foundation and find new acupoints. Kong gathers his energy, forcing it to flow in reverse to break the established pathways. Woon warns him that if the mutated energy swallows him, he will lose his dantian forever. Kong vomits dark blood, his body convulsing from the violent internal restructuring. Gritting his teeth, Kong refuses to give up, determined not to return to his miserable past. He successfully purifies the turbid energy, expelling the last of the Bloodsword clan's influence. Exhausted, Kong collapses, having finally emptied himself to become a blank slate. Woon tells him to now fill that blank slate with his own unique way of the sword. Elsewhere, Murim Alliance investigators examine a corpse that has been completely drained of blood. They conclude it is the work of a monster or highly intelligent killer they have been chasing. The leader suspects a demonic creature that consumes human blood for pleasure. Refusing to wait for backup, the squad leader decides to chase the creature to prevent more victims. A mysterious swordsman with a massive blade on his back observes them from the shadows. Woon addresses his students after 2 weeks of intense training, acknowledging their hard work. He announces that since Seowa and Wang Pal secured 8 victories, he will fulfill his promise for the weapons. With a serious expression, he declares the second phase of training, to kill each other. At the Murim Alliance, Officials discuss the spike in missing persons cases involving drained corpses. They confirm that elite squads, including Namgung Wu and Chung Ha, have been dispatched to handle the threat. Back at the sect, the disciples panic as wounds kill each other command sinks in. Their panic is interrupted by the arrival of a silver-haired man, Chung Ryu, the Taiji warrior. The disciples are shocked to see the legendary prodigy of Wudong standing before them. Chung Ryu reveals his history with Woon, stating that he never lost to him once during their academy days. The disciples realize Chung Ryu is the famous White Sword Dragon and immediately pledge loyalty to him, betraying Woon. Woon yells at them for their fickleness as they fawn over the celebrity martial artist. Woon announces a rest day, taking the group to visit Dongting Lake for a break. He warns them that since they represent his sect now, causing trouble will result in severe punishment. They arrive at a restaurant, but it is packed with no seats available. Chung Ryu appears again, offering to cover the costs if they tell him about Bakley Woon. Chung Ryu admits he is intrigued by Woon, seeing him as an interesting variable. He reveals the secret wager. The Alliance and unorthodox faction have bet on the tournament outcome. The students learn they are merely pawns. The Alliance has bet against them, hoping for their defeat. While Woon is occupied drinking with the female merchant Jie Wool at a separate table, Chung Ryu reveals the harsh truth to the students. The entire Murim Alliance is betting on their defeat. A conflict breaks out between Xian Wukong, who has nothing to lose, and Shimin Chiak, who fears for his family's reputation if they go against the Alliance's wishes. Suddenly, a messenger rushes in, shouting that there is trouble. He reports that a procession of 100 demons has appeared and is heading for Dongting Lake. Woon realizes the situation has escalated into a major crisis involving monsters. The demon realm is described as a terrifying terrain that warps reality when a demon establishes dominance and ascends to become a greater demon. This transformation triggers a pandemonium of 100 demons, where lesser entities flock to the new master and march toward human settlements. A scout urgently reports that a pandemonium of 250 demons has originated in Baeksang and is heading straight for Dongting Lake. The situation worsens with news that the Qinghai master and Namgung Wu have gone missing in that very area, leaving only a distress marker behind. The Heavenly Sword sect leader decides to head to Baeksang alone, bypassing the main gathering at Yang to save time. He reasons that the disciples at Dongting Lake are high-priority protection targets and trusts the branch chief to evacuate them safely. His primary goal is to assassinate the greater demon before it can absorb enough energy to turn the area into a living hell. Deep in the darkness, a sinister voice muses over an interesting fate, finding the situation delectable. At the training hall, disciples gather in agitation, demanding to know if the Alliance truly used them as sacrificial pawns. Their shouting is silenced as a powerful figure steps onto the platform. Guangyun, the Yang branch chief of the Murim Alliance, introduces himself with a grave expression. He grimly announces that a pandemonium is currently heading directly toward their location. He orders everyone to return to their training grounds immediately, warning that the area will soon become a battlefield. The disciples protest, insulted that they are being told to withdraw instead of fight. Guangyun snaps, screaming that it is a direct order and they are priority targets to be protected. He shuts down all objections with the weight of his rank, refusing to debate the command. The disciples reluctantly obey, though they notice the branch chief seems uncharacteristically rushed and anxious. Back in their quarters, the group analyzes the situation, suspecting the branch chief is hiding the true severity of the threat. They realize he sent them to the training grounds because he knows the outer defense lines will inevitably be breached. They deduce that the branch chief is assuming the battle will spill into the city itself. Arguments break out over whether to follow orders or fight, but Seomun Chiak interrupts with a dark realization. Chiak declares that if they run away now, everyone remaining here will surely die. He reminds them that as disciples of the righteous path, they cannot abandon civilians and flee in the face of danger. Danri Yun agrees, stepping forward to affirm that they carry the honor of their sects on their shoulders. The group unifies, deciding to interpret withdrawing as fighting while moving, if necessary. Chiak takes command, assigning roles for scouting and terrain analysis to prepare an ambush. With determination in their eyes, they set out to hunt the pandemonium of 100 demons. Meanwhile, the Heavenly Sword Sect leader walks through a corrupted forest, recalling old lessons about survival. He inspects the demonic corruption, estimating that Namgung Wu and the Qinghai Master must be running low on supplies. Inside the barrier, the two missing masters sense the demon approaching and prepare for a final stand. The greater demon growls, annoyed that the intruders have been hiding in its domain like insects. It complains that while eating humans helped it awaken, these specific humans are persistent pests. It roars, demanding they come out and face their deaths. Namgung Wu and the Qinghai Master realize they missed their chance to kill it before its awakening and are now cornered. The demon attacks with blinding speed, forcing them to dodge instantly. It taunts them as small fry while tearing through the terrain. The Qinghai Master is struck, coughing up blood as the demon overwhelms them. They manage a clean counter-hit, but the demon ignores the damage and points out a new threat. The demon unleashes a devastating downward strike, shattering the ground beneath them. A massive claw descends from the sky, threatening to crush Namgung Wu. The demon looms over them, pleased that it no longer has to hunt for its prey. Suddenly, a voice calls out Grand Master, and the Heavenly Sword Sect leader steps in, correcting them to use his title. He scolds them for being messy while standing protectively over their injured forms. With a casual swing of his sword, he slaughters the surrounding demons instantly. He observes the greater demon, noting that it seems suspiciously weak for its rank. The demon begins to convulse, its body twisting unnaturally. A woman's voice echoes from the monster's mouth, calling it foolish and offering help. Dark energy explodes from the creature as it undergoes a terrifying metamorphosis. From the shadows emerges a beautiful, sinister woman, greeting the sect leader as if they are old friends. A flash of memory hits the sect leader, a tragic scene of betrayal and the death of a woman named Heron. He screams her name in the memory, the pain of the past resurfacing violently. Back in the present, the woman taunts him, recalling how he fled like a coward 10 years ago after she killed their friend. He identifies her as Black Knight, a legendary demon. She is the ruler of Immortal Valley, capable of destroying half the Imperial Palace alone. He wonders how she is here when she should be sealed, suspecting this might be a clone. She reveals she sent the greater demon away because it was a nuisance. The sect leader is surprised a demon would show camaraderie, even if just to save a pawn. He declares he will kill her first, then hunt down the other demon immediately after. She laughs at his arrogance, reminding him that 10 years is a long time for humans. He draws his sword, vowing to seal her away from this world forever. They clash, their power shaking the very foundations of the demon realm. Elsewhere, the disciples engage the demon horde, relieved to find no strong entities nearby. They are confused, finding the battle easier than they expected. Chiak reminds them that Woon's brutal 2-week training camp was far harder than this. They realize their training in concealing presence and striking openings works perfectly against demons. The group marvels at their own growth, wondering if Woon foresaw this entire crisis. Wu Gang fights efficiently but struggles to hold back his blood sword arts, feeling impatient with his limited strength. Chiak suddenly asks Wu Gang what his plans are if they survive the battle. Chiak voices the dark thought plaguing them. Are they even supposed to win the upcoming tournament? He admits that they are political pawns, but refuses to accept a destiny of failure. He passionately argues that returning without showing their true worth would be a fate worse than death. Refocused, they shout to prioritize survival and hold the line. They fight with renewed conviction, protecting the families behind them. Suddenly, they notice the demon advance has slowed significantly. They realize the demons aren't attacking, they are running away from something. A spear bursts from the forest, skewering a fleeing demon. The branch chief appears, looking exhausted, and recognizes the students. He scolds them furiously for disobeying his retreat order. Chiak counters by asking why the chief is here alone if retreat was the only option. The disciples stand their ground, declaring they are martial artists before they are students. Moved by their resolve, the chief orders them to hold the line for just 15 minutes until backup arrives. Suddenly, a massive, elite demon ambushes the branch chief from the shadows. The demon gloats, calling the human strong as it bites down. The chief screams in agony as the demon tears into him. Badly wounded, the chief yells at the students to run immediately. He realizes this demon is on a completely different level, impossible for them to defeat. Ignoring the order, the disciples charge in to save him. The demon targets Chiak, who is too slow to dodge the lethal strike. Chiak closes his eyes, accepting his death. Wugang intercepts the attack at the last second, shouting in "Oh!" Wugang recalls Woon's strict warning. Using the blood sword arts again will corrupt his newly purified meridians. He decides that keeping his purity is meaningless if he can't protect his friends. He unleashes the forbidden technique, Blood Sea Azura Sword Art. Instead of sinister red energy, a blinding golden light erupts, incinerating the demon instantly. Wugang stands amidst the dissipating energy, shocked that he broke the taboo but feels no corruption. He stares at his blade, which glows with a brilliant, righteous gold instead of the blood sect's crimson. He realizes he has achieved what Woon predicted, finding his own, unique path of the sword. The demon looms over Xian Wukong, sensing the chaotic energy within him, and decides to consume the boy to fuel its own power. It opens its maw wide, declaring Kong will become its nourishment. But as it prepares to strike, it freezes, sensing a shift in the air. Kang's aura is not that of prey, but of a monster far more terrifying. Kang's eyes glow with a fierce, golden resolve as he recalls the power he witnessed in Woon, yearning to reach that same pinnacle. The demon begins to tremble, choking on its own words as an overwhelming pressure crushes its spirit. Terrified, the creature cowers, instinctively begging for its life in the face of a superior predator. Kong stares down at the trembling beast, confused by its sudden submission. He asks if he is scary, the realization of his own growing power slowly dawning on him. A dark determination settles over him as he decides to become an even greater nightmare to his enemies. He accepts his nature as a predator, shedding his hesitation. He vows that humans and demons alike will learn to fear him. Suddenly, a shout breaks his trance as his teammates rush in, reminding him the battle isn't over. Oryong signals the attack, declaring it is their turn to strike. Seizing the opening created by the demon's fear, Unjin and Danri Yun launch a coordinated assault from the flanks. Unjin delivers a crushing palm strike while Yun pierces through with her spear, their teamwork flawless. The 5 disciples of the martial training hall stand united, officially joining the extermination of the pandemonium. But their victory is short-lived as they notice a hulking figure in the distance radiating a completely different, sinister energy. The branch chief warns them to be careful of its claws, identifying it as a dangerous anomaly. The disciples form a defensive perimeter around the injured chief, promising to watch his back. The new demon moves with blinding speed, disappearing from their sight. It reappears instantly in their midst, forcing Unjin to dodge a lethal swipe. It moves past them, ignoring their formation. Yun spots an opening and smiles, ready to counter. She declares that the time for defense is over. They are switching to hunting mode. The group agrees, charging forward with renewed aggression. They unleash a flurry of attacks, driving the demon back. Suddenly, a massive tail whips out from the shadows, impaling the demon they were fighting. The impaled demon gasps in shock as it is lifted into the air. A terrifying, centipede-like monster emerges, crunching down on the lesser demon's head. The disciples recoil in horror, realizing this new abomination is cannibalizing its own kind. The branch chief screams to kill it immediately, realizing it grows stronger by consuming fear and demonic energy. The monster roars, its power surging. It lunges, tearing through the battlefield with grotesque strength. They realize they are facing a true predator of the demon realm. Unjin struggles to block a heavy strike, calling the monster ruthless. The branch chief realizes the situation is critical. The monster is feeding on the human's fear as well. He screams for the disciples to run, but they hesitate, unwilling to abandon him. Chiak shouts a command, overriding the retreat order. The disciples shout yes, in unison, choosing to stand and fight together. They execute a tactical formation, calling out positions to surround the beast. They tighten the net, refusing to give the monster any space to breathe. Though exhausted, they encourage each other, determined to hold the line. The branch chief watches them, knowing his Shinshin true key will cost his life, but he can no longer delay. He signals Seomun Chiak to create an opening. Thanking the disciples for buying him time, the chief unleashes his final technique, the Thunder Sword, aimed squarely at the monster. But the mundane steel of his weapon shatters under the immense power of his life force. The attack fails to penetrate, leaving him defenseless. The monster screeches in triumph, grabbing the chief to tear him apart. Xian Wukong watches helplessly, muttering that he just wanted to survive. He screams in despair as the monster closes its grip. A calm voice suddenly speaks, praising them for their effort and telling them to rest. A colossal beam of blue sword energy descends from the heavens, cleaving the darkness. The massive monster is obliterated in an instant, cut cleanly in half by the overwhelming power. The disciples stare in awe at the destruction, unable to comprehend the strength they just witnessed. A figure lands softly amidst the debris, his presence commanding. Bakley Woon stands before them, asking casually why they are all gathering there. Far away in a dark cavern, a sinister figure watches Kong through a scrying spell, calling him my child. The figure notes that while his plans have hit a snag, the situation has become far more interesting. He grins in the darkness, looking forward to the future chaos. Back on the battlefield, Woon orders a full charge. He commands them not to leave a single demon alive, leading the way with his sword. He carves through the remaining horde effortlessly. Internally, Woon worries that the appearance of Black Knight signals an acceleration of events, forcing him to move up his own timeline.